So as I talked about in my yesterday video, that the SPY needed to close above the ominous 6-6 5+1 number on the S&P 500. And we saw that yet again in the post-market and pre-market, we climbed back up. But then when we got into the trading action, the SPY flushed back beneath it. Now, do I believe that we are turning south and that the markets are getting ready to crash? No. But we need to watch those levels very carefully, because the failure on Wednesday and Thursday to close above that number, if we cannot build that momentum between the end of today and tomorrow, then yes, we're very likely going to go down to the bottom of the range. Now, I've got a special guest on, and this is going to be a conversation today, an emergency conversation about crypto. And I'm coming out here to share a big picture view as well as the micro concern that I see in Bitcoin. And I'm going to bring him on to discuss a trending news story that's quite controversial. Let's bring Mr. Tim Warren onto the show. Tim, welcome.
What's going on, Josh? It's so good to be back. It's been a little minute.
Yeah, it has. I really appreciate you being here. I always appreciate your insights and your technicals, and I'm going to give you an opportunity to share with my community what you shared with your community about 10 to 15 minutes ago. I'll just set you guys up for that, but we'll come back to it. But Tim and I were having a conversation, and while we were chatting, he said, hold on a minute, just had a technical confirmation. I'm going to let my community know that I see Bitcoin going here next. Yeah. And it actually very much aligned with something that I wanted to share with you guys. And so I saw a moment of confluence, and I wanted to come out and give this to you guys so you might be prepared for what could happen. Neither I nor Tim have a crystal ball. We don't know what's going to happen.
Let me get mine down here.
There you go. Exactly. It's nada. We don't know, but let me be clear. We are not flying blind in our investments. We're following the charts, which is a science. It's an art. It's a skill. We love it. We're passionate about the charts. We enjoy it. It's what drives us to dig deeper into the technicals. But overall, it gives us the feeling like we're not flying blind. We can make risk decisions on some basis of logic. And that's what we're trying to do today. So, breaking news story. Some of you may have heard this, some of you may not have, but I have to dive back into the controversy of Donald Trump's re-escalation of the China tariff war of this last week that caused that huge red engulfing candle on the SPY and gave us the largest liquidation event in crypto's history, up to $20 billion. We saw a successful influencer and a day trader who was leverage trading $60 million, end his life in his Lamborghini because of that event and the money that got really stolen from him and from everyone else. Now, I don't advocate that type of leverage position. I believe you can take some big risk, but you got to take it with money that you're not counting on, or definitely money that doesn't belong to other people. So a very tragic story, but in that event, 1 minute before Donald Trump unleashed that tweet that sent the markets falling, somebody put on a mega whale short on Bitcoin. And, I'm not going to get heavy into the politics, but let me just review the details with you so that you guys have your eyes wide open as to what happened. So 1 minute before Donald Trump's tweet, it came out on October 10th, minutes before Trump's surprise tariff tweet, a whale on the hyperliquid perps deck opened massive shorts in Bitcoin and ETH. Bitcoin then flushed 8% on the tariff news. The trade reportedly netted him $160 to $200 million very, very quickly. Extremely lucky. And then, of course, this began to circulate as a rumor as to who did this. How would they take such a large short position just moments before that news? Wow, so lucky, some speculated. Outlets and analysts tagged the wallet, identified who this individual was, and then even floated the name of who it could be. And, of course, at the moment, everybody's been speculating. Now, I'm not going to throw out any names. Some have speculated that the first name begins with a B, and the last name begins with a T.
Yeah.
T for Trump. I don't know. Okay. I don't know. All I know is that he was sure lucky to have dropped hundreds of millions of dollars onto a short position right before the markets flushed. Now, why am I sharing this with you? Are we just trying to stir the pot and get people fired up? No. The reason why I'm sharing this with you is that same individual that roughly it's speculated that he made anywhere between 127 to 340 million after this massive move down. Well, you guys know what happened next. The markets recovered. Crypto came back up. It bounced right after everybody lost their crypto. It then came back up very, very quickly. And now he's put on another massive short, the details of which seem to imply that he is expecting an even bigger move down, a short that's valued at $500 million, $495 million. So if this guy is super lucky and lightning strikes twice, he's going to have leveraged basically what looks like $100 million into $1 billion and done it in just 2 weeks. Now, I'm worried about this. Okay. Now, people have begun to try to guess what is he expecting is going to happen next in the market. And what he's expecting is this deadline, this continued conflict between the US and China, where Trump has threatened yet again to throw 100% new tariff on China. Now, the market's calmed down a little bit, allowing us to float back up and even test this 666. Because when Donald Trump was asked about that tweet a couple days later, he said, "Oh, guys, don't worry about it. We're going to work it out with China. Me and Xi, we go way back. It's fine." And the markets calmed down just in time for them to come back up, and just in time for Mr. BT to throw on a $495 million short again. So that's a long intro, but let me just throw it over to Tim. I love Tim's view and understanding of this space, crypto space, and markets in general. Tim, what's your reaction to this? How concerned are you about these underlining news stories and their impact on crypto overall?
You know, we tell people all the time, we don't get everything right? And people watching this right now can probably name me, 5 right at the top of their hand. Like, these are 5 times Tim's been wrong about different things. I am wrong all the time. I'm right a good amount of times. And this is one of those things that it's like, I hate saying I was wrong I hate saying I was right when that leads to people losing money. But this is one of those times that we were right. I'll tell you something, we're not going to go into the details of factually knowing who is behind all this. I don't know if the name starts with a B or with an E or with another D and then there's a junior on the end of it. Does the last name start with a T? We don't know this. Here's what we can probably know 99 percentile though. Whether the person was related to the president of the United States, the coincidences that would have to happen for that 1% chance that this person had no idea that Trump was going to tweet and not be in the White House. There's just no possible way, Josh, that there's not a White House official somehow involved or somebody who has access to the mind of Donald Trump. Does that mean it's one of his family members? That's way too hard to speculate, but it's very clear there's some form of insider trading going on.
All right. Let's give them a pass for now, and let's talk about how we can profit. How can we make money? Okay. I tried calling up there in Washington. Nobody took my call. So instead I reached out to my buddy Tim, and he took my call. Tim, how concerned are you about this event? I mean, for not the implications of what they're doing, but as it relates to crypto, what are your thoughts?
Well, so we go back into what was Tim right about. And so if you go to my screen here and go back, we talked about this on our channel. Unfortunately, the week before this ended up happening. Back up here, Bitcoin had recently hit new all-time highs. We were kind of hovering around 122, 123,000. I told my audience, I said, listen, guys, this is not a good look right now. We have a red reversal, bearish momentum dot, and negative money flow coming in. This would give us, and this was before I knew anything about Trump tweeting about China. I said this would give us a reason to pull back at least to 113,000, if not down towards 110. And you want to get even worse with it, Go back over here towards this 107 mark. When we were looking at this, let me back this up so I can show you guys on the hourly chart what my charts were showing me before that major crash came in. I was looking at liquidations. And by the way, this is the target that when we look at manipulation plays like just happened, if you don't have a liquidation chart like this, you don't have to have it on TradingView. There's a great free version online called coinglass.com. Use liquidation charts in your analysis, because if you are a believer like I am that these markets can be and are heavily manipulated, these targets stick out very much so. And what we saw back here, if you go back to October, right before the 10th, you guys see that really, really bright green mark right there? That right there is signaling this was the most amount of liquidations according to recent price action. And if they could get a snowball thing going, this was going to be a major target for manipulators to the downside. Once again, I didn't know that Trump was about to tweet anything out. I didn't know what was happening. All I knew was the daily chart. If I go back over here, the daily chart was not in a good spot. There was liquidation all the way down here towards 107. And something we've been talking about for weeks, this gnarly weekly sell signal, red reversal, bearish momentum, negative money flow. This was back into effect. The last couple of times we saw something like this, let's go back and look at December of 24/January of 25. You look at March of 2024, and you look at May of 2023. What do all those dates have in common? Those are the dates that during this Bitcoin bull run, we've had decent pullbacks back down towards the weekly smart trail indicator. What does that mean? This means right now, we still have the potential chance of making a move all the way down closer to $100,000. Why? Because that's where the weekly smart trail is sitting, and we have recently had that weekly sell signal.
I know the audience, and what they just heard is the sky is falling. Okay.
Yeah.
And I want to preface this, and I want to keep this dialogue broad. I personally believe that the top is not in. I've got a lot of reasons for technically believing that. I don't know that for a fact. I'm not in super heavy. Okay, so keep everything in mind that I just said. I actually have more cash sitting in the sidelines in crypto. But I actually believe that we're getting these extremely volatile shakeouts before we make one really big move up. And it wouldn't shock me if we come back and test that. And, if you say, well, Josh, Tim's been wrong, you've been wrong, I can just tell you guys that this is what you can expect from Wall Street and from crypto and from blockchain. I mean, you can sit there and have a good sense of what's happening, and the market will shake you out of your position. What I'm telling you guys is that right now, I agree. If I take the confluence of my own concerns about the immediate direction, I add to them the things that Tim shared. I add to that the fact that this extremely successful whale is really trying to run $100 million up to $1 to $2 billion in a 2-week period. It tells me that we are not out of the volatility woods. Now, what I think is very possible is if you missed, and this is the most important thing that you can hear in this video, it's why I'm coming out here. If you missed that last flush opportunity, and you actually, you missed SUI at 53 cents, and you missed Ondo at 29 cents, you missed all these cryptos, you missed XRP down to $1.50. I don't know what the lowest price on that one was. But if you missed those, I'm suggesting that we might get one more ridiculous shakeout to potentially go long in crypto, because I don't think that the overall crypto story is over yet. People talk about the super cycle. They talk about how this time is different. I still believe that we are going to be that the cycle is going to move crypto. I don't believe it's completely been torn away, but I do believe that some different things are happening. This has been a very, very different crypto cycle than all the cycles in the past, in the sense of the timing of things. So I'm expecting disruption in the timing. So what are your thoughts on that, Tim?
Well, even what you're saying right there, it's so good. I hope people play back what you just said, to listen to it again because it's very valuable. And I want to say it another way so people hear it again. There's this saying in the world of investing: when a retail investor misses the boat, that just sucks to suck. You missed out. You're going to have to jump in back later. But when a whale, or more specifically, when institutions miss the boat, they always find a way to bring the boat back. Crypto has been running now for quite some time.
I love it.
But what has not been happening until more recently? We're getting very close towards regulatory clarity. Every other day you hear about a new story in the news of some form of major adoption with a large bank or a large investing firm and the crypto space. I mean, heck, they're about to put crypto into 401ks, which means they're not putting any old asset into 401ks for people's retirements. You don't mess with people's retirements. They only put things there that they believe have long-term value. But guess what? This is a very valuable question that people ask all the time. Why would institutions want to buy Bitcoin at $125,000? Why would institutions want to buy XRP at $3? Why would institutions want to buy Chainlink at $30? They want to buy it back cheaper at those lower rates. So what do? They bring the boat back. Follow the money trail of how manipulation works and think logically about what you're hearing in the news that talks about long-term future success, but also understand these are powerful and wealthy individuals who are excited about cryptocurrency. They want to buy cheap. They don't want to buy your all-time high. They don't want to buy your bag. They want you to sell at the bottom to them because you've capitulated, or another fancy word for you've given up, and you sell and you give up. They buy that dip and then they have their explosive run to the upside because they believe in it. But this chaos, it's absolutely a tool by manipulators to shake out retail investors who are too scared to hodl through it.
All right, I'm going to just say this last thing. I want everything to be super clear. Yeah. I actually am saying that in the remainder of 2025, my view of crypto is very similar to my view of the markets, that overall we're still strong. And even though we're experiencing some strong volatility, I do not believe this is the rollover moment because things were too frothy. And now we're going to go into a long-term downtrend. I believe that we just saw an extremely violent, manipulative shock and stress test to crypto. And some folks got really rich and others actually died. But I believe that they're getting greedy, Tim. Yeah. They're going to try to do a round 2 because round 1 was so successful. And so I want you guys to be prepared, and I want you to think through. If you weren't prepared for the last one, you might consider getting prepared. I am definitely targeting some ridiculous, fear-driven prices on my top cryptos, okay? So I want you to be mindful. It's not Josh came out and gave a huge warning video that they're going to manipulate the market back down, so I should just sell everything and get out of the game, because some people will react that way. Really, this message is for folks that are trying to make money, to be aware of what's happening and be prepared to take action if we get another move like that. And I'm sharing stuff with you that I'm literally sharing with my closest friends and my closest circle and even my kids in their own personal crypto accounts. I wanted you guys to have it and for you to be prepared. I'm coming back to you, Tim, but I want to make one more point here about being right or wrong. Now, at the beginning of this month, we're going to talk stock for a minute. I said that I liked Amazon, but it hadn't confirmed yet. And so I could not give it as the official #1 October stock to buy pick, okay? I said, I'm going to nibble on it, and we're going to keep watching it. And then sure enough, it ran up to a beautiful level where it was profitable. So if you followed me at the beginning of the month and you nibbled and you locked in some gains, once again, you made some money. We did the same thing with PayPal. But unfortunately, that one went up over 100%. But of course, then the Washington tweet that drove everything down. And of course, that one you can't hold. Now that it's back down, you have to completely reevaluate it. Will it potentially do well in October? Maybe. I came out and said, I feel more confident that Pepsi is the one to hold. Now, just like the Fed needs to pivot from his concern over inflation to his concern over the labor markets, Joshua gets the right to pivot from one stock that's not working, right, to one that is. And I've been talking about Pepsi as my dominant play for October. And yet again, we went up again today. These were, in my account, my original position, not my added positions. My original position went up now 160%. And if PEP, which is Pepsi, PEP, does as well as I think it might, I'm going to be out here, near the end of October, hopefully saying October pick that we ultimately pivoted and ran with is now up 200%. So I'm making this point to say that you need, sometimes it's not that there was anything wrong with PayPal, but it changed because the macro changed. Pepsi's continuing to run. You got to learn to pivot. We use stop losses. We use position size control. I still have a little PayPal, some leaps, right? But I'm not adding to them because they're not showing me strength yet. We're going to move towards their earnings and maybe it will begin to move and I'll be one of the first that gets on it. Now, the topic I just went over was about being right or wrong. And I make predictions and I share with you what I'm doing with my money. And, I'm in the arena and I'm going to share a little poem with you that reflects both me and Tim. It's not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again, who spends himself in worthy causes, who at the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he falls, at least falls while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory or know defeat. We're getting poetic here today, but I'm making the point that I and Tim are in the arena. And so when you take time to listen to us, we're guys with money on the line who are going to lose if we're wrong. But ultimately, every single day, the goal is to get sharper and sharper. And I want to invite you guys on that journey with me by just hitting the subscribe. And I also invite you to go over to Tim's page. Tim, tell them about your page. You've got 2 pages now. Can you explain that?
Yeah, well, we had a scare from YouTube where we got a strike not knowing what was going on. So we started a second channel just in case. For those who don't know, on YouTube, if you get 3 strikes, just like baseball, you're out. You're done. You can't go make another channel at that point because at that point, they'll know you're just trying to skirt around YouTube's rules. So started a second channel called Tim Warren Trading. Our main channel is just called Tim Warren. But we figured out what was going on there. We're back on our old channel, but that new channel I'm going to use to pretty much just talk every single week about what coins I'm watching and what kind of trades I'm looking to set up. I won't be doing all my entries and exits on there because I do save that for my special VIP trading group. But if you want to just see technical analysis on cryptocurrency, I'm going to start dabbling in some stocks as well because I got tired, Josh. I was telling my community the other day, I got tired of going on other people's channels and doing technical analysis on stocks that ended up paying off beautifully, but I never entered any trade with them because I'm just doing technical analysis. People, I'm like, I better start trading the stocks as well since I keep calling them this way. So that channel is going to be designated pretty much a 100% technical analysis. So you can find me on either one of those. Tim Warren is the common denominator. You'll probably see both of them when you look that up in YouTube.
Well, thank you guys for watching the video today. Thank you, Tim, for coming on and giving your insights. To be very clear, when Tim and I were chatting on the phone earlier, he was notifying his community of entering a short on Bitcoin. And
do you want me to show what I did real quick? We actually just entered it while we were. I'm recording this with you when I entered a short.
Yes,
live.
Go ahead and show everybody.
Yeah, let's take a look here. So coincidentally, we did not get my full long here necessarily, but I'll show you first what we did. We longed a scalp long here, had a couple entries, had a third one just in case, but we got our first take profit right up here on this 5-minute smart trail. But I also flipped here at 109,200. I entered a longer term short. Let me show you what that looks like here. This short right here, I have an entry that I am in right now at 109,200. If we pop up for some reason towards 110,700, I want to be ready. I have a stop loss at 112,400. Why? Because if we go that high and we break this lower high and lower low structure, you can see this. Since this high back in here, we keep getting lower and lower. If we break that, we've broken the bearish structure, and therefore my short would be invalid. But where I'm looking right now, some places I think are very interesting. There's 3 specific spots to watch. The first one, I just want to make sure I'm safe here and I get profit on a short. So I always have what I call my conservative take profit 1. And I'm going to put this right in line with the wick from the other day on October 10th. Keep an eye on that spot right there. My second take profit, I want to look at 104,000. And the reason for that is this formation that just developed, a nice little left shoulder after the crash, followed by a higher head, and then a right shoulder. This is called a head and shoulders pattern. I let our community know if we broke below 110,000, more than likely the target for this, by taking the depth of the head to what's called the neckline, the bottom level support right here, a breakout position here gives me a target of $104,000. So that is my second conservative take profit. And my last one, as I told you guys earlier, we have that weekly smart trail down here. Guess where? Towards $100,000. So I'm going to go a little bit above that. I'm going to put mine in here around 100,800 just to be safe. But those are the levels that I'm watching right now.
Would you call
Bitcoin.
that, Tim, that last level is sort of the crazy wick possibility moment?
Exactly. That is that last swing out. We get rid of a bunch of retail investors, but then institutions buy like crazy. But I want to have my buy order filled, so I'm putting a little higher.
All right, so I'm gonna, because we are actually have done some great shows in the past, and even though we're friends, I think people have enjoyed when we've beat each other up a little bit. So I'm gonna give you a little side attack here.
Go for it.
You know, I was watching your technicals, and this is what I thought. I thought this is good. This kind of reminds me of myself. These are all the same types of things that I identify. If matter of fact, I actually would give you a plus on those technicals. But where I tend to disagree with you is that you tend to give targets on cryptos that I find to be unrealistic or unquantifiable in the charts.
Okay.
And so, and I think that you've used other metrics that are not chart related to identify those possibilities. And I don't, because I actually like to just stick within the walls of the candle world. And I feel like you've crept out of those walls, and I'm hitting you a little bit. I'm curious your take on that, brother. I mean, what would you say to me? I'm the critic in the arena. There's blood on your face. What do you say?
Yeah. Well, okay, so there's actually a very interesting thing you bring up there. So I made a video the other day on our channel. If you go find it, it's called My Updated Crypto Price Predictions, and then in parentheses I put I was wrong. Okay, so I think you're referencing a lot of those. So I'll get out of there just so you guys don't have to look it up. I am the crazy guy who over a year ago said, hey, we could see Chainlink up at like 400 to crazy levels if everything goes right, maybe $700 per coin. I talked about Ethereum probably could push towards 15,000. Coins like Sui could at least get to 30, if not $50 by the end of the bull market. Now, first thing,
I know the listeners, after you just said that, some people were like, who's this crazy guy? Okay,
yeah, exactly.
Defend yourself, brother.
Well, so I'm going to defend myself a little bit, but I'm also going to give in, because in that video, I talked about how I'm changing the way I'm viewing this. And the reason why is because my analysis, you're right. I went away from candles. I used what we call market cap analysis. And I kind of followed logic of how markets have acted in the past, with an expectation of saying, hey, I think that crypto's market cap, if you guys don't know what market cap is, the market cap is the dollar amount that the coin is worth times the amount of coins that are in existence, right? So if Chainlink right now is $17, $18, that's the price per coin, but the market cap, I think, is somewhere around 10 billion, which means if you have the amount of coins times that $18 mark, that's your total market cap. Just make sure for anyone who's out there is listening, market cap. I think the market caps can still go crazy high. Here's what I'm changing my tune on, though, and I'm going to kind of come back down to earth, away from the craziness. I still believe, Josh, that someday Chainlink will hit $400 per coin. That just means it needs to get to like a $150 billion valuation. That's not ridiculous. That's kind of like where Solana is right now. I think that Chainlink is going to be a big part of the future and could easily see the market cap being over $150 billion. The problem is, I'm not going to sit here and now wait for that, because as we've seen in this bull market since, let's go back to like November of 2022, We get hype and a big run up followed by some sort of crazy bad news and we pull back down. A lot of altcoins, Chainlink included, can pull back 60%. We're still putting in higher highs and higher lows. We're still in a bull market, but I think the volatility is going to continue as institutions take the space. So I'm no longer waiting. Like if you're saying here, Tim, are you waiting for $400 to take profit on Chainlink? Heck no, I'm not. I'm going to start taking profit every time I see the weekly chart tell me that it's time to sell. This is one thing I went in that video. If you want me, I mean, I know we originally were going to do 10 minutes. I'm okay going longer. Do you mind if I share the charts on
Go
this
ahead,
one?
go ahead. See, this is what happens when you get two passionate charting guys on the same show.
Perfect. So you can see here, Chainlink right now, very volatile coin since this bull market started back in 2022, 2023. $400 is way up here, right? So we're pretty far away from it. Again, I still believe someday we get there. But for now, there's a lot of choppiness that has happened. And I was talking to my audience in this video. I said, this is my new strategy. I'm going to use this oscillator right here, this LUXALGO oscillator on the weekly chart, and I'm going to buy every time it tells me to buy, and I'm going to sell every time it tells me to sell. What do I mean by that? Take a look on this chart. I'm going to show you different time periods starting back here in late 2023. It really kind of comes into right in here. Right in here, we have a green reversal dot. We have bullish momentum coming in here, and we finally have positive money flow. So this told me right here, Chainlink is good to buy in October of 2023. Let's turn that to a green line right there, okay? So that's what it's telling me right there. Now I come up here and I say, okay, when should I sell, right? I'm not even looking at price right now, Josh. I'm just looking at this one oscillator, right?
Okay.
If I look up here and I say, okay, I need to see a reversal that's red, bearish momentum plus negative money flow. It's not enough. Like this right here is not a sell signal. Why? Because that money flow is still flowing to the upside, right? I get a sell signal with a red reversal, bearish momentum, and negative money flow right here in March of 2024. Let's turn that one red. Let's keep going here just a couple more times. I finally get a buy signal back in here, right here, November of 2024. We turn this one green. I get a sell signal right in here, red reversal, bearish momentum, negative money flow in January of 2025. Let's turn that back red. And then I'll do one more set for each of them. Buy signal right in here, April of 2025, turn that green. And my last sell signal I just had here a couple of weeks ago, right here, red reversal, bearish momentum, negative money flow. Let's turn that one red. So you can see right there, Josh, I didn't look at price action whatsoever. I'm just looking at this one oscillator, buying when it says to buy, selling when it says to sell, right? That seems pretty simple. Let's go and look at what that looks like on the charts. Take a look at the places you would have bought when you had these moves. I would have bought right here Chainlink in October of 23 at $7.27, and I would have sold with a 200% profit up at $21.96. I would have then entered a short to short down to the markets. I would have exited my moves down here, up 51% with another successful trade. Then I buy back in here. I rally this thing. I would have missed the top by a little bit, but I end up rallying this one 142%. This one, I'm just going to skip this. This buy signal right here, I have another 100% move to the upside. And all of this, it seems messy. All of this is choppy, long and short movements that was called borderline perfectly by this indicator. And what I'm expecting now, I'm waiting for that weekly buy signal to come in to confirm. I do think we're going to new highs. I think the next target I'm watching for is around the $46 to $50 mark, but I'm going to wait to see when does my weekly chart tell me to sell with that red reversal, bearish momentum, and negative money flow. That's my new strategy with these altcoins out there. Vic,
Well, I love it. I love it. And so I'm going to give you guys my, overall view of the markets. You've heard me say it before. Price is truth, and wicks express the emotion of the market. And, there are people that say that the charts are only right half the time or 60% of the time, and that's an incorrect idea. The charts are always right 100% of the time, but our ability to interpret them correctly, depending on how good we are, is only between 50 to 60% of the time. That's why this is an art. And you can see that that Tim is really just going back to the basics and putting more confidence in what the charts are saying. And the truth is, Tim, if you had simply traded Link and nailed and followed all of those clear indicators, you'd be up 800%, and you'd be having the best time of your life, patiently waiting for the next signal. Absolutely. It takes so much patience and discipline to follow the charts. And you guys hear me say it every day on my show. But I can tell you that when you look at my face, you're looking at the face of a man who understands what the goal is, and that's to follow the charts 100% as best I can, and to surround myself with people who are doing the same thing. Thank you, Tim, for coming on the show. Guys, make sure you check out his page. Don't Sleep on the Stocks with Josh Discord. I'm getting ready to drop my full list of current leaps that I'm in the leaps channel, which is available to the top trader tier. I'm getting ready to drop those this afternoon, just so that you guys have what I'm thinking. And here's exactly what I'm thinking. We have to finish this week above 666. We got to put that in the rearview mirror. Otherwise, we've got another flash test coming as we go into big tech earnings next week. And maybe it's going to be big tech earnings, maybe even NVIDIA's yet again, that's going to save the AI rally and bring the markets up off the bottoms. We're definitely moving towards volatility. I'm not expecting right now that we just close up above 666 and next week we just run. I'm not expecting that right now. It could happen. We'll follow the charts, but that's my overall view. You have any final thoughts you want to leave people with, Tim?
No, I mean, ultimately, I think this has been a great show once again. I think echoing what we said earlier, make sure you don't walk away from the show thinking doom and gloom, it's all over, it's dead and gone. This is an opportunity. You can be cup half full or cup half empty. If you want to be cup half empty, yeah, sure. We could still go lower. Your portfolio currently could drop a little bit more. Or you can think about it as an opportunity. The same way these institutions and these whales are looking at it, they are foaming at the mouth. They cannot wait to buy these cheap prices because there's still something they know about the markets going back to the upside, as we talked about. So don't treat this as being super bearish. Treat this as an opportunity to take advantage of cheap discount prices. The same way your wife or your husband love when there's a sale at the grocery store. This is a sale on crypto and stocks right now. Take advantage of it.
Yeah, we're all just trying to catch up with this BT fellow or this junior fellow. We're all just trying to get a bag like the big boys. Appreciate you, Tim. Peace and blessings to the fam out there. I'll see you in the next video. Hope you enjoyed it. Drop a heart and run over to Tim's page and subscribe to this page and let me know if you liked this video. I know you've been asking for more crypto, and this is why I gave it to you. Peace and blessings, fam.